Hello everybody and welcome to another Total Gaming Network and CS Nation presentation. Today we're going to be taking a look at Sonic Generations, a new entry in the Sonic franchise, published by SEGA and developed by Devil's Details. As always, we're taking a look at the PC version, which is available now through Steam for just $30 US. Sonic Generations combines gameplay and characters from Sonic's long 20-year history, incorporating mechanics that old-school Sonic fans will be intimately familiar with new game abilities seen in some of the more recent and sometimes forgettable Sonic titles. There is a cohesive story to be found here when Sonic's universe is thrown into chaos. A mysterious new enemy shows up, sucks in new Sonic's friends into a statue-like state, and forms a number of time holes that thrust Sonic and his friends back into a more simple time. Here, new Sonic and new Tails meet up with old friends as they team up to knock out their enemies, save their friends, and unravel the mystery of this new enemy.
That might be a good place to check out. I'll be back soon.
Wow, you weren't kidding when you said soon. I thought you already left.
What matters here is that the story isn't all that important. It is told through a number of cutscenes, with the younger Sonic staying true to his roots and being a mute, leaving the progression of the story up to new Sonic and his ensemble cast of characters. The cutscenes are well crafted and oftentimes offer up a subtle nod to the game's history. It's just unfortunate that there are a number of load screens in the game, even between the various cutscenes. Gameplay-wise, each level of the game is accessed through a main world hub. In this hub, you can swap between old and new Sonic, and the Switch offers up different gameplay mechanics and levels, which we'll touch upon shortly. Each level within the hub features two main acts, one for each of the Sonics. Successfully completing these acts in a world then opens up challenges that are both optional and mandatory. And by this I mean that the only ones that are mandatory are the ones that unlock special keys that lead to a boss fight after every 3 levels of gameplay. And you following all this? Because it's a simple idea that's honestly harder to describe than it is to see in action. Challenges are often the focus of specific tasks or abilities that you must overcome. One such challenge, for example, has you teaming up with Knuckles to uncover buried coins throughout a level. And this slows down the pace and sometimes doesn't feel like at home in a game where the main objective is typically to go as fast as possible. Other challenges include taking on mini-bosses, making it through a level with special conditions met, such as using a specific power-up, and others. While they aren't terrible, the game probably could have done without a lot of these extras, and sometimes they simply feel as though they are mere filler. The hub world also offers up areas that give you access to special unlocks such as art pieces you've collected, information about characters, songs you've unlocked, and provides an area that you can go back and watch any of the game's cutscenes if you're into that sort of thing. The hub also allows you to spend some of your hard-earned points on bonus abilities or power-ups you can then customize and place into special skill sets that both Sonics can use throughout future levels. Unlocks include the ability to use a bubble shield, reduction in knockback when you hit enemies, and many more. The meat and potatoes of the game is in how well it plays. This is easily the best Sonic game I've played in recent memory, with the possible exception of Sonic Rush for the Nintendo DS. But given how that game came out almost 6 years ago, it's been far too long since we've seen a worthy Sonic title come out of the SEGA. Fortunately, this game delivers in spades. Playing through Act 1 of each level's old Sonic provides you with a sense of nostalgia as you race through the largely side-scrolling levels at high speeds and limited abilities. Old Sonic initially has up his sleeve the ability to jump and spin dash, and that's it. Counter that with the new Sonic and his more dynamic acts, 3-dimensional gameplay, homing jump attack, and speed dash, and you have a great blend of the new and old. The only downside being that you sometimes forget that one Sonic doesn't have certain abilities that the other one does. It's a very minor annoyance, but an annoyance nonetheless. The initial stages are modeled after some of the classics in the Sonic series, including Green Hill Zone, Chemical Plant, and Sky Sanctuary, and are complemented nicely with the remixed versions of the original songs. I honestly felt like a kid again playing through some of these levels, and while they are not identical to their original versions, the themes are still very distinct, even down to the odd frame rate slowdown that started to rear its ugly head on the Chemical Zone. Fans of the original game should remember this, as it happened quite often in the original Chemical Plant Zone, anytime Sonic really revved up the speed. As mentioned, completion of both acts in each of the 3 levels in an area unlocks the aforementioned challenges. Once you complete the challenges that have the keys hovering above them in a cloud, you can then proceed to the far right of the world hub, use the keys to unlock the next boss fight, and go to town. Without spoiling much of the boss battles, they are fairly simple once you master the patterns, as was the case with nearly every Sonic game that's ever come out. Frankly, the list of positives for this blast from the past far outweigh the negatives. The only truly bad I found in this game lies in the inconsistent frame rate, inconsistent jumping, and death falls that sometimes seem like a bit of, what the hell, did that really just happen on the old BS scale? The frame rate might be a result of my machine, but I did read a bit from others who have also experienced frame rate drops, so maybe it is an issue that SEGA and Devil's Details will be working on for a patch. Keep in mind, I am playing on the PC, and I'm not sure if the same frame rate issues have hit the console versions of the game or not. The inconsistent jumping is probably the greatest of the 3 main offenders. At times, Sonic will either get stuck on some minute part of a ledge as he tries to jump up, causing you to have to step back and then make the jump, while at other times it feels as though the jumps are far more floaty than they should be. I'm playing with a wired Xbox 360 controller connected to my PC. The game recognizes it and supports it right from the get-go, so I'm not really sure what the deal is with this particular problem. The deaths as a result of falling into endless pits is really only a problem when playing the Axe's new Sonic. If you aren't sure on what's coming up and you're traveling at a good clip, chances are you may just end up dying because you didn't take that one safe path out of a multiple choice option. It's not a huge deal, but it does slow down the pace of the game a bit when it happens, simply because you'll be a bit afraid of making the same mistake twice. Despite these flaws, especially with the inconsistent frame rate, Sonic Generations is quite visually appealing. The character models look great, as good as talking super animals can look, I suppose. The levels themselves are fantastic, with each offering up their own unique theme and set pieces. And the sense of speed when you get either of the Sonics going is impressive, with appropriate visual blur being applied as you whiz by. There really isn't much in the way of multiplayer, to the point of it being almost non-existent. The only mode I found is under the online section of the main menu that offers up 2 various game modes. 30-second trial that lets you see how far you can make it through a level after just 30 seconds of gameplay, and ranking attack. Ranking Attack is a mode that lets you take on stage records for players from all around the world. That is the extent of multiplayer, and we use that term multiplayer in the loosest sense possible. I'm fine with this, mainly because Sonic has always been a largely single-player experience, and the inclusion of anything more in Generations would just feel tacked on and completely unnecessary. Sonic Generations is priced at just $30 on the PC, and is retailing for $50 on the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. It is a great offering for both new and old fans of the series. The Steam version does include Steam Cloud support and 49 various Steam achievements. We will leave a link to the Steam version in the description below. I have seen it on sale for a bit cheaper than retail at places such as Amazon.com, so if you don't feel like paying full price, be sure to shop around, get a good deal, pay what you feel comfortable with. You might even want to wait for a sale if that's your thing. But I am having a tremendous amount of fun with this right now. As always, thank you for joining us, and we will catch you next time with another Total Gaming Network and CS Nation presentation.